we have seen, I think, in April or May of this year, where there was a discussion in relation to the possibility of exporting dog racing to China, and these all have to be explored. All these issues have to be explored, and there are exciting possibilities for the greyhound industry, as I mentioned earlier. That talks about exporting to China and so forth. There are exciting possibilities for this industry, and we should be researching the possibilities for the greyhound industry. We should be researching what is available in relation to this industry going forward.
Ireland is regarded as a world-class player in dog breeding, and there has to be significant potential to exploit this much further. Greyhounds can become an even more significant export industry than has been the case, and it was significant, and then is the case, and it is significant. The Irish industry model can be transferred to other countries, and it is being sought to be developed, and it is being investigated, and I support the investigation of that. But I do want to make this point. The point that is being perpetrated by various factors, both within and outside the country, in relation to what investigations are taking place to exporting the model that we have, and the fantastic model that we have, that is sought by many others, and that is admired by many others throughout the world. The greyhound welfare sector of the industry, as I said earlier, is the business of the industry. It is the lifeblood of the industry. Without the right welfare systems being in place, without the right welfare systems being adhered to, that industry would not be the thriving industry that it is, or that it can be. And that being the case, who's to say that we can't seek to have the same mechanisms, the same standards, the same procedures in place in such countries that we seek to export that model to? And it's only then we would export that model. But it's only then that this industry will become a sustainable industry, and a self-sustainable industry, and an industry that will generate greater profits than we've seen heretofore, and greater profits against even against the backdrop that we have in this country as it stands. But you, as Minister, I would ask that you support all the efforts that are being made to seek to export the model that is the envy of many others. Because that model, were it to get into the right, were it to be sold to the right countries, to the right audiences, can be a huge net gain to this country's coffers, to this country's economic viability. And the potential that is there is huge. And I would hope that we don't hide behind some of the scaremongering that I've seen coming through my computer and my emails and so forth. I know that industry. I know it well. I grew up in it, and I grew up realising the potential it has. I grew up realising the impact it has in communities, the impact it has in rural communities, and the great social benefit it is to those communities. And I know now that it has the potential, as I said, to be exported. And nobody should stand in the way of you and your department and the Irish Coursing Club and the Irish Greyhound Board in exploring to the nth degree the potential that has. And it would be a shame if you were to be blocked by somebody who was throwing out these aspersions with no weight whatsoever behind it.
Deputy, you have to conclude.
And I would conclude by saying, don't let us down in that regard, and I would ask you to come back to the House with any progress that might exist in that area. And I commend you for, as I said earlier, for bringing forward the bill as was devised by the previous government. And I would ask all members of the House to support it, and I would ask all members of the House to take note of what is said.